Hello everybody, VanBradley here, and today I'm going to show you how to win a culture victory in Civilization 6. We are going to load into this awesome start here as Pericles for our culture victory today, but first, I'd like to head back to the main menu so I can show you how I set up this game for our culture victory. The first step to winning any victory condition in Civilization 6 is setting up the game how you'd like it, so let's take a look at what I've done here. I should note before I dive into this create game screen here that this tutorial is designed for new or novice Civilization players. While there's going to be loads of good stuff here for everybody, I've set up this game to be fairly representative of a game a new or novice Civilization player might play. That way, as I'm going through the game, the things I'm doing and the things that I'm seeing are things that they can do and things that they will be seeing. This means it's a different setup than our typical deity games. The most important selection you are going to make when you set up your game for any victory condition is going to be the leader. In this case, I picked Pericles. He is not only amazing at culture victories, but his abilities are very intuitive and easy to use, and so if you are a new or novice player looking for your first couple of culture victories, I recommend trying it with Pericles. I'll go over each ability as we use it in game so you can kind of see what's happening, but just know that Pericles is so freaking good and I'm so excited to play him. With the game options here, I've kept things as default as possible. Again, I want this to be a representative experience of someone who's new to Civ and just kind of jumped into the game. However, that doesn't mean I don't have some game setting recommendations, so let's go over what I've changed. If you're a new or novice Civ player or somebody who's trying something for the first time, Prince is the difficulty I recommend playing on. If you play on any of the lower difficulties, the game's almost a little too easy and you can start building some bad habits that you'll have to reverse later on. Any other difficulty, though, is going to be far too difficult. I find that when I jumped to King for the first time, that was a struggle for me, but I think Prince is the perfect place for us to start. The next thing I changed is the map type, and I recommend changing this in almost all cases. Continents is just not a very good map type for a culture victory, even if it is the default. We're going to go on a Pangaea today. In the late game, we will be so happy that we are on the same continent as all the other civs. It also helps us not have to worry about kind of the naval aspect of the game, and if you're someone who's learning how to play civ, specifically a culture victory, which is the most difficult one to kind of wrap your head around, kind of not having to worry about a whole aspect of the game just because you selected a different map type is really nice. I set resources to abundant, which is not for any particular reason other than I like it, and sometimes we have to do the things we like in Civ. I don't know if this is a hot take or a cold take, but I think if you are a new Civ player or any Civ player, you should set your world age to new in every single game. It will add more hills to the map. In this case, we need those hills for our unique theater square districts. They need to be placed on hills, so I'm putting them on the map for that reason, but they really help you gain production in your civilizations. And if you're someone who's new to Civ, getting production is going to be a bit difficult anyway, and so I recommend just if you're struggling with the game, just one setting, changing the world age to new, and I think you might have a better time with all the hills on the map. Everything else is standard. We have no game modes enabled. While some of these game modes make culture victories way easier than the default, I'm assuming that as a new or novice Civ player, game modes are kind of beyond what we're doing right now. That's something we can learn later. We're just going to keep it basic. We're going to play the base game with Gathering Storm, so no game modes for us. It's also a good time to mention no mods of any kind that affect the gameplay, so no better balanced start, nothing else. I do have some UI mods, though, just to help show me and show you some of the things that are happening in the game, but everything is default and standard. We are back in the game and ready to get started. I should note that I've put this exact save file in our Discord server. If you go to the description of this video and click the Discord link and join our server, there will be a channel that houses all of our gameplay files. You can take this file and play the exact game I'm playing right now. That way, if you're struggling with a culture victory, you can literally copy exactly what I'm doing on the same map with the same leader and everything to get some practice reps under your belt. Also, as a good training exercise and a hit to my ego, by the time you hop into the save file, you will have seen the map because I'll have played it. So you should be able to, with a little practice, finish this game in fewer turns than I played it because you'll have more information. So if you want to run this map a couple of times and kind of really hone in that victory, you should be able to do it after you watch these videos. My headphones are back in. It's time for me to lock into the gameplay here. This is also the first game of Civ I'm playing standing up. We got a brand new standing desk. Thank you for all the support that helped me pay for this. But it's a little bit weird for me to be doing all this standing up, so I'm going to do my best here. While going over starts is something for a different tutorial video, I can link that in the description below. Let's talk about what I like about our start here. We're going to settle in place on a 2-2 tile, so we'll get those really good yields in our capital. We got some good luxury resources around. We have a couple of resources around that we can use otherwise. We also have a couple of chops. We can get rid of the rainforest. We can get rid of the woods. That will give us production towards some wonders early on. We're on a fresh water source here. So overall, this isn't the most excellent start ever, but I'd rate it like a 7 or 8 out of 10, and it's perfect for what we're doing right now. The most exciting moment of any Civ game, let's settle our capital city right here. And as always, I'm going to name our cities after our channel members whose kind of financial support keeps this channel going. It helps me buy things like a really expensive, really nice standing desk. So if you want to contribute to that, that link is in the description below. I think I've set it at like $2 Canadian a month. So it shouldn't set you back too much if you want to help support the channel that way. But Ozan here is a brand new channel member. So thank you, Ozan. You have the privilege of being our capital city in a tutorial video. Before I start building anything, I want to go over my strategy to obtain this culture victory. That way, as I'm doing it and as you're seeing it, you know what it is we are trying to achieve. If you open up the great person screen, on the right-hand side, you are going to see great writers, great artists, and great musicians. These units are really, really important for a culture victory, and to earn them, we need lots of great person points. This is where my favorite wonder, the Oracle, comes in. If the Oracle is in a city, it will provide +2 great person points of their type. For example, great writer points from a theater square. So any kind of district or buildings that give us great person points are going to give us additional great person points if we have the Oracle. And since that's something we want, and the Oracle is an early game wonder, we're going to go for it early on. In the governor screen, you're going to see Pingala here. Now, Pingala is a good governor for culture victories anyway, but his ability grants will add 100% of the great person points generated per turn in the city. If we combine that with the Oracle, we can put both in the same city to generate just a sheer metric poop load of great person points. What's great about that is by using the Oracle, it means the AI can't have the Oracle because it's a wonder only one person can have. So we will have a monopoly on just the sheer doubling, tripling, quadrupling of great person points. And we should be able to get every single great writer, great artist, or great musician and just remove those as options from the AI. Now let's talk about the yields that are really, really important early on. What I want to instill in you if you are a new or novice player is the ability to focus on your victory condition. So we are going to go for high amounts of culture. We will need the highest culture number possible. It's a culture victory. There's a cultural yield. That's pretty intuitive, right? So we're going to pump this purple number up as high as it can go. Faith is a very important yield for culture victories. It's not as obvious early on. A lot of the reason faith is useful happens in the late game when you've stockpiled it, but we will need thousands of faith in the late game for our culture victory to do it as effectively as possible. So we're going to want to start pumping these numbers up pretty quickly in the early game as well. If we pump them up in the early game and not just the late game, we can not only stockpile for the late game, but we can use a Monumentality Golden Age potentially, which is an early game phenomenon that happens. The next most important yield is tourism. We haven't started generating any yet, but we'll talk about it and how it affects a culture victory when we do. But just know that our tourism number, whenever it appears, we're going to shoot that up as high as possible. Now, obviously, science, gold, diplo favor, these are all important. We can't neglect them. We will need a certain amount of science, a certain amount of gold, and a certain amount of diplo. However, they're kind of the second back burner ones. If we have the option of 3 or 4 good theater squares and holy sites or 3 or 4 good campuses, we're going to focus on the theater squares and holy sites. Let's build some good habits in the early game, and we are going to build 2 scouts. There's 2 things you're looking for on the map that are really critical to any victory condition. The first is going to be goody huts. These are little tribal villages that will give you bonuses if you find them first on the map, so we're going to want to find some of those. And if we meet a city-state before any other AI, we will get an envoy in that city-state, which is really important in general, but really important as Greece as well. And wouldn't you know it, we just met Arma, and we are the first person to meet Arma. So we get an envoy in there for free. The envoy is going to give us a bonus depending on the city-state type. This is a faith city-state, so we are going to get a faith bonus. +1 faith. That's awesome. We're going to get our pantheon a little quicker. But if we take a look at the first ability of Pericles we are going to use, let's talk about Surrounded by Glory. Surrounded by Glory happens passively as long as you are the suzerain of at least one city-state. For each city-state we are the suzerain of, we will get +5% culture. So it's just going to take this number here, it's going to add 5% to it, and that is the ability. It just kind of happens passively. So obviously, the higher this number is, the bigger a difference that 5% is going to make. But by coming in here and getting that first meet, we are 1 envoy closer to getting that suzerain. So meeting these city-states first is important. Ooh, we've discovered a wonder, Zhangi Dancia. I don't really know how good that is. We've never really used it in one of our games before, but it's a wonder and it's there. So we might head over here with the city potentially. As we were scouting, I like to scout in a circle around my capital city. Information is power early on. The more of the map we can see, the better decisions we can make about where to place our early cities. If we only scout north and settle a bunch of our early cities and then find out that 5 tiles to the south there was a Paititi wonder and we could have had an even better city, we're going to want to know that, right? So information is power, and I like having a balanced amount of information around my capital. Also, the goody huts, the closer ones are the ones you're likelier to get to first, so you want to find the ones that are near you first. We've just met Bologna, and we've met Bologna first as well, so we're going to get a +1 science bonus. We've reached our first goody hut or tribal village. I'm not going to be able to show you all of them, but I'll show you this first one to show you the bonus we get. In this case, it was a builder. There are lots of bonuses there. This is where the game could kind of change for us. Even if you play this same map, the goody hut might give you something different. So we're happy with a builder. We're going for mining anyway, so I'm going to move the builder to the diamonds to make that luxury resource part of our empire. Seeing as finding the natural wonder boosted our holy sites and we want to pump up this faith number, we are going to go for this holy site here. And the reason for that is that we have a really good holy site option in between all these mountains. So I feel pretty good about, preemptively, but we're thinking about it, putting this +4 holy site down. We've met our first civ. This is Theodora. There's no specific reason for us to be afraid of Theodora. And if you do these strategies effectively, you won't need to be afraid of any of the AI at this level. However, that's a few good things for us that just happened. We've met our first civ, and we want to be friendly with civs in a culture victory. There are good reasons to be friendly with civs, so we are going to go and we are going to send a delegation. We're going to start, the process of schmoozing them a little bit to make sure they're friendly with us. This will pay dividends later when it comes to tourism, so we are going to do that. So we'll keep the scout there. And then with this warrior, I'm going to loop back around. I want to keep my warrior kind of close-ish to the capital city. Even on Prince difficulty, barbarians can be a nightmare. There's no difficulty really where the barbarians don't just suck. So we want to make sure our one unit that can effectively fight barbs is nearby. I'm going to add the mine tile here to make this tile even better for us to work. Those are loads of good yields for us. Early on, we don't really need the amenities that this diamonds gives us, right? They're not giving us a ton of yields with those amenities or a ton of happiness or anything. So I'm actually going to try and sell it. Now, this quick deal screen makes this a little easier. Turns out the AI doesn't quite have enough money to make this worth it, but it's just good to come and select your AI, go to the make deal screen if you don't have the mod, and just see what they'll give you for everything every once in a while. As a general rule of thumb for new or novice players, I want to have 3 cities down by turn 50. It's currently turn 12. I'm hopefully going to be able to get the Pantheon that gives me a free settler, but there's no barbs around. There's nothing that can really stop us. It seems like there's a couple of good cities around, especially near this natural wonder maybe, so I'm going to go for a settler right away. I just discovered an envoy in a goody hut, so I'm going to add it to Vilnius. This will be helpful to get that one culture, which will allow us to find our governments just a little bit faster early on. Ooh, Genghis Khan is up to the north. Gotta watch out for the horses at the Genghis Khan, but we should be okay. He's pretty far away. It'll take him a while to come and settle anywhere near us. The next amazing ability Pericles kind of just does for us, what makes him so good at really any victory condition, but a culture one specifically, is this extra wild card policy here. Being able to put not just an extra policy card, but any policy card we want into this wild card spot the entire game is so helpful. It means early on we can add this +1 faith to get our Pantheon a little bit faster. We're going for the settler one, as well as add the production here where we don't have to pick one or the other. We can have both. It's awesome. It's also a good time to talk about boosts. As you go through the civic and tech tree, each of these little units here will have a boost function. It says 2 boost clear a barbarian outpost, 2 boost improve 3 tiles. We're going to do our best to achieve as many of these boosts as possible as they reduce the cost of actually getting the tech by around 40%. So you'll see this boosted one here is 9 turns. This unboosted one is 15 turns. So if we accomplish these little goals, we'll make our lives so much easier regardless of how much culture or science we have. We're not going to be able to get all of them, but we know we're going to need to get through craftsmanship to get to a government anyway. And so we might as well work the second, third tile here. So we got 1, 2, 3. That's our third work tile. And that's boosted craftsmanship for us. I'm not going to be able to show you every time I do it, but just know in both tech trees, I'm kind of going around and seeing which boosts I can get to make my life a little bit easier motoring through the tech trees. I just think this is funny. You want to clear as many barb camps as you can early on. Clearing them will give you era score. It'll give you gold, both things we really want. But also it'll just remove the barbs from the map, which is wonderful. But getting in here with a scout and just being able to sneak one for free from the AI is really funny. I've taken the time to plan out our first couple of cities here. We have a settler coming in 2 turns, so this is the kind of thing we're going to want to plan out. And you can see, other than a little bit of a gap here, which we're working on actually right now, we have most of the information we need for a good decision to be made for our first couple of cities. What attracts me about both of these options is they're both on fresh water, they're both fairly nearby, so they're easy to defend, but mostly we can utilize their closeness to make sure these theater squares we're having have the best adjacency possible. They're on hills, and because we're Pericles, going next to the city center improves the adjacency, going next to a wonder also improves the adjacency with anybody, same with an entertainment complex, and I feel pretty clever for this diamond formation here, so you have the two theater squares on the top and bottom, and the entertainment complex and the oracle affect both of them, which is wonderful. We also know that because there's woods and rainforest on all four of these tiles, that discovering horses or iron or any of the strategic resources isn't going to kind of ruin this plan. So this is a plan we can rely on. So I'm going to come and settle this city down here second. The reason being is I want it to grow into the city-state borders quickly. As Armar gets more envoys sent to it, its borders will grow, and I want to make sure we've already taken up the borders before Armar's borders grow. And then we'll come up to this city third, and then a fourth city will go here on this floodplain. That'll be a high food. I suppose that'll be an industrial zone city. Anytime I see floodplains like this, the industrial zone part of my brain starts going off. So we'll plan maybe one of those out, and then definitely another city up in this general area here. We have lots of really good tiles to work. With the settler done, we can finally put down this +4 holy site. The +4 holy site's really amazing. I would have settled for like +2 would have been great. So we'll take a +4 holy site. Even better is we don't have to chop anything out to use the tile there, so we can just put it down. And we're going to build that right away to start gathering the faith and start generating great profit points, so hopefully we can get a religion at some point, or at least the option of a religion if we choose to take it. We finally hit our pantheon, and religious settlements is available. If you're playing on a higher difficulty, this will not be available. You're never going to get it. So your best options are anything that increases your faith, or goddess of the festivals maybe. Anything that increases your culture is usually pretty good. But religious settlements, far and away the best thing you can do. Getting a third settler for free is incredible. We're going to have all three of our turn 50 cities down by like turn 30, which is awesome. We've already planned out how we're going to make them amazing. This could not be going better for us. We are taking religious settlements. I'm going to head straight to Mysticism to unlock the Oracle. I want to get that built as soon as possible. Then we'll head up to Craftsmanship and kind of through early Empire and State Workforce until we get a government. We'll circle back for military tradition later, as it's not really necessary for what we're doing. That really good holy site is going to give us era score, which is awesome, but now it's going to start generating faith for us, as well as great person points for us. So maybe a little bit later, we'll talk about how great person points work, since they're going to be really important to our victory. Monuments are always amazing. They give you culture and a little bit of loyalty. When I settle new cities, the first thing I build is always a monument. Not as essential in the capital, but we'll circle around to one now. We're kind of playing keep away with the settlers and the scout, but the warriors kind of bouncing it around, and we're getting our cities down soon enough. City number 2 is down, and I'm so excited. What a fun city. We're going to want to get a builder here early on, because we're going to start chopping out all of these things for the Oracle. I'll talk about how that works in a moment, but yeah, Sparta is going to be an incredible city for us. It's not going to be called Sparta, though, because we have more channel members to acknowledge here. Ian Kirkpatrick is a channel member. I'm going to call this one Kirky Pats, which I think is just a cooler city name, but Ian, I appreciate you. Thank you for existing. Ooh, we've met another Civ, Wu Zhetan. I don't know how to say that, but I'm doing my best out here of China, and you can see they're kind of forward settling us a little bit, so we got to be careful. I'd be happy if they settled like one more city over here, but anything closer to this river, and I'd be a little upset by that. City number 3 is down, and this would have been earlier, but we had that Barb Scout messing about in our land. A Rumkey's coming down in our direction as well. Let's kill you. See you, mate. Ooh, and a promotion. Heck yeah. But Mycenae is down and ready to roll. Except Sheffrin is a channel member, so Mycenae is now Sheffrin. Congrats, Sheffrin. Thank you for your support. On a New World map, I almost always take Alpine. So I watch a lot of Formula 1, and this is spelled the same, but the team is pronounced Alpine. But this is Alpine. Faster movement on hill terrain, even though there's lots of rainforests and woods around. Just the amount of hills on a New World map is usually the best. I'm going to save my gold for a builder. Now, there's lots of good stuff here I'd like, but let's get a trader going. Let's build some habits. Let's get a good foundation going. I don't know if this would be my pick in every game, but in this game, it'll be a nice little bit of gold. It'll start creating some roads. And crucially, we need to get our trade routes online early so we can utilize them to give us tourism boosts later, which we'll talk about, but let's get a trader going. Why not? The Oracle is unlocked, so let's take a look at how we can build it here. We are going to need... To chop out the woods, we're going to need masonry. So we'll tech into masonry. The 9 turns is fine because we're going to build this monument first anyway. It'll take less than 9 turns once the population goes up, but I'm okay waiting a little bit for that. I'm not in a rush. I don't think the Prince AI is going to take the Oracle from me that quickly, so I think we'll be okay there. But it's good to know that we're going to need to get this tile and chop that out. which means if we get a governor, we're going to want Magnus to make those chops more effective. We can become the suzerain of Vilnius, which is great because it's a culture city state. That's going to give us plus 5% culture, and 5% of 5.4 is not that much, but it's a start, and any culture we accrue later will still be plus 5%. If we can keep that Suze. The only thing I don't want to Suze right now is Armagh. I don't want to pump envoys in here to increase the borders, but Vilnius is fine. It'll give us some era score as well, and if we can get a Monumentality Golden Age, that would be a huge boost for us, so getting a couple early suzerains would be great. And it seems like 2 era score in 10 to 27 turns is going to be really achievable. Ooh, Kamir's in this game, which, you know, he's really, really good. So we'll be careful. He's going to have a lot of food. He's definitely going to get a religion. You got to be careful. But you can see our great person points are ticking up with our holy site. Once we get to 60, we will earn a great profit. Nobody else is earning any yet. So I suspect we're going to make it there in time. This is why scouting is so important. You have Kamir here, you have China up here, and neither of them scouted this goodie hut. So we're going to get a free sailing boost, which is awesome. That's not a boost we would have gotten otherwise, but we've hit our 25 era score, so we're going to go into a golden age, which means I can start planning for a Monumentality Golden Age. Now, early on, my biggest fear with trade routes is that barbarians are going to kind of get rid of them. So what I'm going to do is I am going to send this trade route. Ooh, Hattusa's a little... I'm worried about the barbs on the trade route to Hattusa for sure, but Hattusa will give us a free envoy, which might be worth it. The other thing we can do is we can go to Constantinople to start getting the tourism boost. We're not generating any tourism yet, though, so it's not pretty critical. I'm going to take the chance. Let's start bringing the warrior back down. I'm going to take the chance that there's no barbs on this trade route. We don't see an encampment. I'm going to take the chance just for the envoy, and even if a barbarian pillages the trade route, we're not going to lose the envoy, and I really do want to be the Suze of Hattusa, so we'll do that in hope. We'll do that in hope. And a road in this general direction will help us settle cities here later, so maybe that's not so bad. Next up for us is going to be the shrine. We need more faith. Now that I know we are going into a Monumentality Golden Age, I am fully focused on upping this faith number as high as possible because spending faith is going to be a critical part of that Golden Age, so a shrine makes even more sense than it did before. I'm going to do something cheeky here, and because I'm playing on Prince, I never get to do this, so I don't actually know if this is a good idea, but I do want to get that great profit just a little bit quicker, and I don't have a ton of need for these policy card slots at the moment, so I'm going to slide in the +2 great profit points here and just get the great profit as soon as possible. I don't even want to found the religion right away. I just want to make sure that part of the game is kind of done and dusted, and we have the option for a religion if we want one. There are only 4 religions and 6 players, and so if we don't grab one, we're going to miss out, and I kind of just want that to be done and over with. We're not going to be able to start getting the Oracle until we have Magnus, and we don't get our first governor title for 7 more turns, and so we're going to wait a little bit on that. I could buy the builder, but we don't really need the builder yet because we're going to use all 3 of its charges for chops, so I think we'll hold our gold for now, but if you're wondering why I'm not spending it, I just think I need the builder, but we're going to hold off for a minute until everything is set up better. Everything we're going to need for this Oracle play is slowly beginning to unlock. Masonry to chop the woods out, early Empire for that governor. I feel pretty safe that I can buy this builder and feel good about spending my 215 gold. So we're going to get it up to the right place. I'm going to make sure I save enough gold to purchase the tile as well, since we are growing out into the diamond. Early Empire is going to give us a card that has 50% production towards settlers, which is something I feel really strongly about. So we are going to go and we're going to put that card in next turn, which means I can start to build 1 more settler in my capital. The rest of the settlers will get after our government plaza, but I typically settle 3 without the government plaza, and because we got a free one, we can go for 4 this time. I just want to lock this good area up here before any of these fools decide they want to take up our space. I also want to practice building good habits, so we're going to get a slinger here just so we can defend against any barbs. I'm feeling pretty good about everything at the moment, but you never know. You never know, so we're going to build a slinger. Good habits. All right, great profit points. That was fun, but you've done your time in Azkaban. We're going to put the settler card in there. I'll keep the rest of the production cards for now, and then discipline is still good. We're still fighting some barbs. Governor appointment time. There are 2 good options in every game. If you have anything you can chop, which we'll talk about in a second. If you've been hearing the word chop this whole time and you have no idea what we're talking about, don't worry, I'm going to show you in a second. But Magnus is going to make those better. Magnus's primary ability here, Groundbreaker, plus 50% yields from plot harvest or feature removals. Removing features is the thing that I call chopping, so that's what we're going to do. But that'll be plus 50% yields, and since those yields are going towards a wonder, I'm pretty invested on those being 50% higher. Pingala is also a really good option. Pingala will give you an increase in science and culture, which is great. He'll also give you more science and culture for each citizen, and we already know, because I talked about it, we want to go down to the grants promotion. So we're going to get Magnus first for promotion number 1. Then we're going to come back to Pingala for all of these other promotions to grants. Then we'll come back to Magnus for provision. By the time we go for provision, I should have a Monumentality Golden Age and be buying my settlers with faith, in which case losing the population is something I'm not as interested in, so provision will be great for us then. But we'll go Magnus first for now, and we're putting it in Kirky Pants, baby. We've just got our second diamonds, which means we have 2 diamonds in our empire. Now, duplicate luxury resources do not help us really in any way. So if we come to our quick deal screen, if you don't have this mod, you're just going to have to make the deal. But luxury resources that are extra will kind of pop up here and we can sell them. So right now, if we sell this diamonds that we don't need, somebody, doesn't matter who at this point, will give us 3 gold per turn for 30 turns. So that's 90 gold all in all. So I'm going to say yes to that deal because that's a good deal for us. Additionally, we have our first kind of happy person. So happy people are going to want to be friends with us. So we are going to declare friendship. Lovely, predictable, but lovely. So that's wonderful. And now we have our first friend, and we're going to be interested in keeping everyone friendly if at all possible. We have another governor title, which means we can go for Pingala. Now, we know we want Pingala in Kirky Pants eventually because that's where the oracle's going, and that's our whole strategy. But for now, we will put it in Ozon to at least collect the science and culture we can from the city. Now, it's good to know that when it says like plus 10 or 15% culture or whatever, it just means in the city Pingala is. So not the top line number in the top left, just the city here. So the city is giving us 6 science of our 8.3 and 6 culture of our 11.9. But it's just good to know that Pingala's ability is specific to the city, not our entire number as a whole. Now that Magnus is firmly entrenched in Kirky Pants, it is time to talk about chopping resources. Chopping resources pretty much means taking either a resource or a feature, so we could remove this cattle, for instance, or this quarry. In this case, we're going to remove the rainforest and getting yields as a result. This will have an impact on the tile because the rainforest is actually giving us yields as well. So by removing the rainforest, we will lower the yields on the tile, making the tile give us less yields every turn. In return, though, we will get a bunch of food in production right now, which is what we want. We are kind of mortgaging the future a little bit for a bigger return now. Now, you might be asking, well, why don't I just leave it and then I'll have more on my plate later on in the game? Well, the first reason you want to chop these out is because we're going to use the tile anyway. Like, we are putting the oracle here regardless, and so if we don't chop it out, we get nothing. If we do chop it out, we at least get the food in production before the oracle goes down. So that's why you'd want to use this ability and use these builder charges on tiles where you're already putting things. So anywhere where we're putting a district, this campus, we're going to want to remove the bananas and the rainforest. Anywhere you're putting something down anyway, you're going to want to remove it. The other reason is simply for the expediency of having the production in food now. The quicker we can get things online, the better they'll be for us. The quicker we can get Oracle online, the better it's going to be for us. On a hills tile, if I remove this woods, yes, I'll lose the production. I can just put the mine back down on the tile and get production back. It does take a build charge, but getting some of that production right now is incredible, and I can just reset the tile back to how it was anyway. So you'll see a lot of high-level players just chopping things all the time, and that's the reason why Civ is a game where the earlier you can do everything, the better. It is better to mortgage the future a little bit because it's easily remedied by what you're gaining right now. The first thing I always want to double check is that I'm chopping into the correct city. So it is in Kirky Pants, the tile we're trying to chop, and I want to make sure we're chopping into the correct thing. So right now we have a granary in our production queue. That's annoying, Theater Square. If we were to chop this right now, all of the yields would go towards the granary, which is not what we want. So we want to make sure that granary is out of there. We want to put the oracle in, but we can't put the oracle in because we need to chop first. So how is this going to work? Well, never fear. If we have an empty production queue and we chop into it, in this case, it's going to be 27 production and 27 food. The food is just going to be food and go into the city. That's fine. But the production is going to go towards nothing. So we chop that out. 27 production, nothing happened here. All right. Once we go in here and we select the oracle and put it down, that 20% production is going to get applied to the build next turn. As we do that, you'll see that the population went from 19 turns to 2. That's the food. The oracle was either a higher amount of turns or it'll be applied over the turn, but the 27 production has been added to the oracle queue. I'm going to buy another builder because there's quite a few things in the area I want to chop. We're going to chop the quarry out. I want to get rid of this woods. I also want to chop these out. I basically want to get the oracle as quickly as possible. We'll do the rest of the chops after we get a government, because one of these governments is going to give us plus 10% production towards wonders, which will make the chops a little more effective. We still don't have tourism yet, but it's time to start talking about tourism bonuses. Once we start collecting tourism, we're going to want to spread that tourism to the other civilizations. That'll kind of happen naturally just as you play the game, but there are some things we can do to make that easier. The first thing we can do is have open borders. In this case, I want it because I actually want to walk through his land. So eight gold is worth the price to be able to walk through his land. I hope that slinger doesn't kill me. I'll cry. But once we get open borders with these folks, I'm going to show you something cool on the culture victory screen. That's too much gold. I'm not getting open borders with you. If we come to the culture victory screen here, though, none of this will make sense yet. Don't even worry about it. We'll talk about it later when it does make sense. If we come to Genghis Khan, you will see we have a plus 25% open border or plus 25% tourism boost for having an open border. So maintaining these open borders with the civs will help us get a tourism boost towards that civilization, which we're going to want for our culture victory. I've also taken the time to actually plan out this city up here. Now I have the settler. We're going to put the city there, a dam over here, and an aqueduct over here. Both of those things will make this industrial zone better. The industrial zone, when you get to a factory, has an area of effect production bonus. So that industrial zone will also give some auxiliary production to Ozan and Shefrin, which is really, really nice. And if we settle a city up in this direction, so we'll get a little bit of extra production that way. It means we can put down a reasonable government plaza here as well, so we can use it to affect the Acropolis and all the rest. So this should be okay. Now that I'm looking at it, actually, hold up. Entertainment complex, flatland tile. I usually don't make this play because on deity it's difficult. The Colosseum would also be an excellent wonder for us, and that's a flatland tile next to an entertainment complex. So that'll also make this theater square better, and that'll just be a good wonder for us. All right, that's the play we're making later on. Colosseum it is. A good thing to note, and not that I'd recommend messing around with this if you're a really new player, but you can actually adjust the focus of each city. You can do it manually by selecting the tiles your city works, or you can come in here and go, you know, I want to produce this oracle as quickly as possible. I'm going to have the city focus on production, and it will work the highest combination of production tiles. It means in this case we lose a little bit of food per turn, but we knocked 3 turns off the oracle, so this was worth doing. 4th city down, and it's being renamed Krinagar. Krinagar, thank you so much for your support. Much love, homie. It is finally time for us to select our government. Autocracy, I think, is the best one for a newer novice player anyway, because it just gives you a nice balance of cards. It gives you some extra yields, and the 10% production awards wonders is what we're going for right now. So we're going to take the settler card out. We're not building any settlers. I'm not going to show you every policy card selection, especially later in the game. I'll only note the notable ones. However, just know the best way to do the policy cards, if you're not really sure what to do, is anything you are doing right now is helpful. If you are building builders, put this builder card in. Even if you don't know if building builders is the right thing to do, if that's what you've decided to do, use the policy cards to make the things you are doing better for sure. We know we want envoys in city-states. We know we're going to want influence towards earning those envoys. That's something we're actively doing this whole game, so charismatic leader is wonderful. We're actively producing things, so that's great. We're actively building a wonder, so Corvée is amazing. We got a trade route. That's 2 gold right there. Awesome sauce. Let's do it. Okay, well, the scout did get killed by that archer, and that makes me sad. Genghis, do you want to be friends, homie? That's great, because he was coming down here and sending trade routes. Now, the more trade routes he sends you, it increases your diplomatic, whatever it's called. And if he has that diplomatic visibility on you, he'll kill you very quickly. So we wanted to be careful of that, but now that's not a problem. We're going to use our chops here. I just want to show this one more time. We're going to remove this woods. They'll give us 58 production towards the oracle. That's 7 turns towards it. We're going to remove this quarry here. That's another 58 production. That's another 7 turn towards it. So we're making this go a lot quicker. Building that is also going to boost our Acropolis, which is our unique district. We'll talk more about it when we unlock it, but that's where we're going to want to go next after military tradition. I'm going to put our government plaza down. The government plaza going down is going to give us the option of a government plaza building. I have a few different options I might want to select from, but we'll take a look at those when we get there. But I just want to go for the government plaza first. We have earned the Great Prophet, which we are going to recruit. This will give me the option at any point of founding a religion. I'm actually just going to put this unit to sleep. I don't want to found a religion right now. I'd rather think on it for a little bit. If you have a different religion than the AI, you gain like a minus 50% tourism bonus. And I'm not sure if that's going to be worth it considering 3 of the other civs are going to have religions. And so I'll kind of, if we need the religion, we'll take it. It might add an extra complication to the tutorial as well, because we certainly don't need it to win this game in a culture victory. But just know that religion is a good tool to use. It's just not very easy to use for a culture victory. So we're just going to leave it for now, but we might get to it if we need it. I'm going to start trading with our AI friends. There's barbs to the south, so maybe there's also some barbs to the north, to be fair. Maybe we'll go to Taiyuan. That's a city. We know that that's not going to be a problem. What I want to show off with the trade routes, though, is if you go back to this tourism screen here, we are going to get plus 25% for a trade route, which is why you want people to be friendly with you. You want them to give you open borders. You want them to accept your trade routes, etc., etc. Hard to do if you're at war with people, so we want to make sure we are getting those tourism boosts. Even though we're still not generating tourism, it's good to be ahead of those things. Is this going to be enough for the Oracle? Oh, it sure is, baby. So let's look at this beautiful animation. The Oracle, my favorite wonder in Civ 6. You'll see me build it in almost every game that I play, even on Deity. I can't wait once this is fully up and running to show you just how effective it is at helping our culture victory. Boost towards the Acropolis. I can't wait to throw one of those down, but there it is, which means we can do the Pingala and Magnus swap. We want to make sure that Pingala is in the city with the Oracle, so Magnus can just go to the city with the next amount of chops, which seems to be Sheffrin. Seems like the next place that we want to boost those chops. We're not going to be able to chop everything everywhere with Magnus, but I think there's a lot here that Magnus can be helpful with. We have entered the classical era. It is now time to talk about monumentality. So in your golden ages, especially in the early ones, monumentality is going to be an option. I recommend this almost every time you have enough faith to make it work. +2 movement for all builders is so good. We're going to move in a lot of builders around the map, and we want to make that movement count. So that's going to be very effective in boosting up our empire, making the builders faster. We can purchase civilian units with faith, so that's traders, settlers, and builders we can purchase with faith. We can't normally do that, so that's awesome. We're going to spend our faith on those. And then if we want to purchase them with gold, they're 30% cheaper to purchase with gold. So we can just purchase a lot of these units instead of building them, which is just a very effective way to get ahead. As you can see, it's going to be tough for us to start building a lot of settlers. I can literally go into Sheffrin and just buy a settler. Well, I have to select it first. I can literally just go in and buy a settler, though, which is way, way easier. So we're going to pick Monumentality for sure. That first Acropolis is going to go down. You'll notice it is cheaper. So that is one of the benefits of our Acropolis, is that it is cheaper. This is what makes it, not only thing, but this is one of the things that makes it great for newer players, is that if you're struggling to get enough production in your empire, you can at least build your main district pretty easily in every city, kind of regardless of what's going on. So we are going to be getting that Acropolis, and I'm really, really excited. There are 3 options for our government plaza building. If we didn't hit this Monumentality Golden Age and I was going to have to build settlers, I would have easily picked Ancestral Hall, 50% increased production towards settlers in the city. We need about 8 more cities in this game, and cities in a culture victory are crucial. We have a thing called Great Work Slots, which we'll talk a lot about later in the game, but there's only so many you can earn in each city, and we're going to need a ton of them. So more cities is going to be better for us. I'm estimating we're going to finish with about 10 to 12 cities. So that would have been great, but I can buy settlers with faith now, so I'm actually going to go Audience Chamber. Getting amenities and housing in cities with governors is really, really amazing for us, and only losing -2 loyalty in a game where we're going to have mostly golden ages anyway means absolutely nothing to me. So we're going to get Audience Chamber. Warlord's Throne is useless, though, because the last thing we want to do is be at war with people. I really do want provision, but I'm actually going to go straight down the culture part of Pingala. That's going to be culture for every citizen, which in this case will be 4 or 5 culture, which is wonderful. That's quite a bit. That's about 25% of our total right now. But grants is what we want, because we want to start churning out those great writer points with the Acropolis. I just want to note quickly, if you're seeing things like theology boosted, but you're like, hey, wait a second, he didn't build a religion. He specifically said he wasn't going to. I haven't tricked you or reloaded the game or cheated in any way. I literally just found these boosts in goodie huts. I just didn't show you them all. So there's a few boosts like this. Same with the boost to, there was another one. Is it up in this tree? No, where was it? There was another boost I got to defensive tactics, but I haven't been the target of a war yet or built an encampment. So these are just ones I found in goodie huts. I'm definitely going to want aqueducts and lumber mills. So there's some stuff down here I'm going to want. Mainly, though, I'm going to try my best to get all the way up. It's a long scroll, but we'll get there eventually. To computers. Computers is going to give us plus 25% tourism across our empire. And remember, we are focused on our victory condition. Our victory condition does not include offshore oil rigs. It does not include nukes. It does not include tanks. We do not need to come down for this stuff. We want to focus on the things that will help us. Computers will help us. Seaside resorts in aluminum will help us. Flight will help us. We'll talk about how later, but we're kind of coming towards the things that will help us and ignoring cavalry and line infantry, which will not help us. Yo, we're getting the good deals for our extra tobacco now. Genghis Khan likes to smoke because 8 gold every turn is a lot. Nader Shah is in this game. Okay. All right, homie. What's up, dude? How's it going? Can we delegate to you, baby? Hell yeah, brother. Thank you, thank you. You're going to notice a lot of the policy cards I select in this game are going to be these bonuses to our districts. They will double the adjacency of every holy site. We have a +4 holy site that'll give us another 4 faith per turn. We are using faith as a resource, so that's something we're interested in. Now, we know that we're not going to get the Magnus Governor promotion for a minute because we need one more in Pingala first, which means I can actually just buy a settler pretty guilt-free up in Sheffrin. We are going to lose the population, but you know what? That's okay. We'll buy the settler anyway, and that'll get us going. We'll settle a city up in this area. There's lots of good stuff going on. It's a bit of a weird city, but I planned something out here. City here, holy site. Maybe another city up here for this holy site might be better. Maybe we could do something like this instead. Yeah, another city up here for this holy site would be better. We want the commercial hub for the trade route that it'll give us later, so that's fine. We definitely want the Acropolis for kind of all things. So maybe this becomes a holy site. We'll think about it. It could be a holy site or a campus. I'm not too attached to either one. We'll just see what we need later. We've built our first Acropolis, which is awesome. That's +4 era score. It's going to be a ton of culture. We'll talk about the great person point benefit that's going to happen later. Our homeboy here has decided he also wants to settle a city, which he's going to settle. And that's problematic. It's one we're going to end up loyalty flipping. So it's not one he's going to be able to keep, but it's one that's going to cause some problems for us. Oh, he moved. He moved. Why did he move? Bro, just settle your city there. Homie. I mean, we're going to loyalty flip whatever city he settles anyway, but we got our settle now. So, yeah, it works for me, homie. Even better, honestly, if you settle there, it saves me from having to do it, because I will loyalty flip that city. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, you're already losing loyalty. -14. Oh, well, that was dumb. Well, that was really dumb, because now we got the city we wanted, and he's going to lose this city for sure. All right, AI. That was weird. There are some barbs poking around, so we're going to do our due diligence. I'll spend the 60 gold to upgrade to an archer that's wonderful. You'll notice I'm building a ton of builders. The reason I'm doing this is to maximize these chops. We're about to put down another Acropolis. We're about to start putting down a campus down here. And I want to make sure we're chopping these resources out to get as much out of the map as we can before those go down. It is time for the grants promotion. So I'm going to put grants in. That's 100% great people points per turn generated. Right, we already have an amphitheater down with Oracle, so we're already generating more. If we take a look at our great writer points, we are getting 3 every turn. Let's see what happens when we add Pingala's grants to the mix, and we haven't even got an amphitheater yet, so this is like the bare minimum writer points we're generating at the moment. One of the fun things about doing this Magnus chop here is we're going to just increase our population so much, chopping out all these rainforests, which is just going to apply more loyalty pressure on Keshkar here. So this was very, very silly. This city, too, Krinagar, once we get farms down all this, is going to have so much food. Like, there's no way he's going to keep the city. I'm really surprised he's done this. In any case, we're here to build Acropolises, and we shall build Acropolises. So there we go. Acropolis number 2 is down. But before we even get an amphitheater, how many great person points are we generating? We are now generating 6 great writer points per turn. That's going to go up next turn when we get this Acropolis online. It's going to go up again once we buy an amphitheater here. And was that 3 or 4 turns I'll have enough money? That's just such incredible value for us. And that's a good deal. Let's sell our iron. Who wants iron? That's a really good deal for iron. Look at how much gold we're making. This is going excellently. It is time for the entertainment complex. So these entertainment complexes, let's swap this tile over to the correct city. These entertainment complexes are going to make the theater squares better, give them more adjacency, more culture by being next to them. So we're going to want to get that down right away. I haven't noted it quite yet, but building walls in our cities is going to give us tourism later in the game. We are now generating tourism 3 per turn because of the Oracle. So we finally have something giving us tourism. So we're really happy with that. So all of that, boosting we're doing with the open borders and stuff is now actually having an effect, which we'll talk about later. But we're going to build the walls here, not because we need the walls for defense, but because they will give us tourism later. 7 population in the capital means it's time for an Acropolis. As much as I do want these walls, we can build them a little bit later. So let's not stress about the walls at all. We're close to being able to build this campus, just have 1 more chop left as well. But things are starting to work for us. This city's getting destroyed by loyalty, -8.5 per turn. So it's going to be ours very soon. What's great is we have 2 population now in Olympia, and I'm sending this warrior over for preemptive scouting. But look at all the yields in this volcano. I want to make sure we settle a city here near the volcano for all those yields before Bologna grows with envoys. So we're going to buy a settler there and send it that way. And then once we hit the feudalism card here, which newly trained builders gain 2 build actions, then we'll start buying builders with faith once they're getting bonus build actions. We have 600 gold as well. I just traded some iron. So we're going to buy an amphitheater in the Pingala Oracle City. This will give us 1 great writer point per turn, as well as 2 slots for great works of writing. So we're going to want those. We're about to get some great works of writing, so it's going to be great. But we're going to buy that just so we have that on the board as soon as possible. We have now claimed our first great writer. Each great writer will give us 2 great works of writing. So let's recruit you. We're going to want to put you in the city with the amphitheater, and once we get some great works of writing, I'll show you how they work. We are going to put a great work of writing into this amphitheater. That kind of put the great works slot up on the top of our menu here. So once we do that, you can see we have all of these places to put great works. This is why having a lot of cities is important, so we have more opportunities to build things that give us these places. If we keep earning great writers without the ability to put their great works of writing anywhere, they're not going to give us anything, right? And each great work of writing gives us 2 tourism and 2 culture, so we're interested in making sure there's room for all those things. So we're going to be making sure we get a lot of great work slots as we go through the game. The builder card is in, so anything we buy is going to give us extra build charges. So we're going to buy a builder with faith here, and you'll see it as 5 build charges instead of 3. That's because of the policy card we put in. So this is just going to do a lot of good work for us. Now, if you multiply that extra 2 charges by, are you for real? Or okay, Barb's not going to kill us. If you multiply those 2 charges over every single builder we're going to get in this game, that's almost double the amount of builders we're getting for the same cost. So it's really, really wonderful. Volcano City Militos is down, and we got some Barbs to fight. Aviso is another channel member, and so shall another city be named. So now that we have a few Acropolises down, even without the great work things here, let's just take a look at how the Oracle is doing. Pingala is only affecting the 1 city with the Oracle, but the Oracle is affecting the whole empire. Let's take a look at our great works of writing. We are getting 9 great writer points per turn now. No one else has even started. And now what's great about the Oracle is going to affect every type of great person points. So when we get that industrial zone, it's going to give us more great engineer points. When we get commercial hubs, it'll give us more great merchant points. So the Oracle is just going to, chew through all these great people for us, which is great. They're going to give us amazing bonuses. And then anything we build in the city with Pingala is going to give us even more on top of that. So you can see why this Oracle Pingala strategy is so good. One of the things I want to show off is banking production in districts. I know that I want to put an Acropolis here, but I'm going to finish this granary first. But I still want to put this Acropolis down early. The reason is, the later you go in the game, the more expensive things are. Right now, this Acropolis costs 80 production. Right? If I come back to build it later, it might cost more than 80, whether that's because I built another Acropolis somewhere else or the game just went on for longer, etc. So if I come down here and I put the Acropolis in, but then I swap the granary back, we're still going to be building the granary, but we're now going to lock in the production for the Acropolis at 80 instead of letting it increase. Now that we have great works of writing, I want to come down to Curator, and in the city with Pingala, where we have 2 great works of writing, soon to be more, we just got another great writer, 100% tourism from great works of art, music, and writing in the city. That is going to increase our tourism from 12 to something. We'll find out next turn. Keshker is now flipped, so in 10 turns when the loyalty goes all the way to 0, you'll see our little sigil kind of beaming here. That means we are going to acquire the city in 10 turns. We finally unlocked lumber mills. Lumber mills are one of my favorite improvements in the game. A lot of people would just come and chop through every woods. I don't know if that's a great habit to be in for a new player to just wantonly chop everything. We talked about doing it for specific things you're looking for, like wonders, or if you know you're going to put something on the tile anyway. But I currently don't have anything planned for this tile, so instead of removing, I'm just going to add 2 production to it. And that's going to give me a lot more production every turn that I could work. So sometimes it's worth it to do that instead of chopping. Can I buy a builder here? This is a great city to get a builder in. Oh my god, I sure can. Monumentality is just amazing. Same here, I'll just chuck a lumber mill down. Took an otherwise pretty bad tile, made it really good instead of chopping it out. Maybe it's a good play, maybe it's not the most ideal play, but you're never going to go wrong just taking builders and increasing the yields of all your tiles. We can start thinking about our next government. In Monarchy, we are going to get +1 housing per level of walls. We're building walls anyway because we want the tourism they will give us. And so that's something we're interested in. So we're going to go there and do that. Can I kill you? You're being really annoying. I'm not. Oh, 2 archers. That's maybe a bad idea. We are running into the exact problem I talked about. We're trying to recruit a great person and we have great writers, but there's nowhere to put the great works of writing. We have amphitheaters coming in, but we're already in a backlog here. So we got to hurry up quickly. Wonderful. We can chop out the nanos here, get that 66 food, and we're going to start production on this campus. Let's get it in the right city first. But our first campus is going to be going down, which is exciting. Again, we're not really focused on science specifically, but we can't neglect it either. We need a few good campuses. We got all the districts here we were interested in early on, and so we are going to grab the holy site. It's not the best holy site ever, but it'll do the trick. We are going to chop out this for gold. Can I flip this to the Magnus city at all? No, it's a little too far away. Oh, no, I can. We'll flip to Magnus, get as much gold as possible, and then just flip these back. So that worked out pretty well for us, and we'll eventually get a Colosseum there when we can. It's time for us to pick our government. We unlocked monarchy, so we are going to go into monarchy here. We're going to build the Colosseum really soon, so we'll get Gothic architecture in, which is awesome. We need to choose 2 red cards, so we're going to put in limes. That way, if we build any walls, they'll be done quite a bit more quickly, which is awesome. We're still fighting barbs, so this is all great stuff. There's nothing else going on here that I'm really excited about other than autocratic legacy. I can lose the 1 production in every city to gain 2 of every yield, and so we will do that. If you're ever struggling against barbs, one of the best things you can do is grab some archers, put them in your city centers. It means you can't go out and hunt them, but if you get this garrison promotion here, it's plus 10 combat strength while you're kind of sitting in your city center. I'm going to kill it with a warrior in this case, but you'll be able to melt through barbarians if your homie can do plus 10 combat strength and just kind of rain arrows down on them. The next thing that's really interesting to me in the civic tree are these art museums and archaeological museums. We are focused on our victory condition. Higher culture will get us there. Improving our theater squares will lead to higher culture, so we are going to do that right away. Hey, Keshkar is now our city, which is really, really funny. We will be keeping Keshkar. The reason being is I think that I can just pump up the population here as well. Oh, and it'll give us the honey, which is nice. Does this say continent split? No, this is all the same continent. Although we do have a continent split down here. It might be worth coming and settling a city down here. And we probably want to do that soon, actually. I'm going to send the Great Prophet on a scouting mission. Well, I want to come and settle the city down here pretty quick to make sure we head off whatever they might be thinking. All right, here we go. Archer with the garrison promotion is just melting through. I think I would have killed it anyway, but maybe a bad example, but that's all right. I can come and I can buy my amphitheater here, so it's more great worker writing slots, more culture, more great person points. And you can see we're just churning through them now. 13 per turn, baby. All right, in Kirky Pats, we are going to build the Colosseum. Do we need an arena first? No, we just need the tile to be in our city. Silly me, that's okay. We are going to build the Colosseum right now, which is awesome. The Colosseum is going to give amenities to kind of all the cities within 6 tiles here. So it's going to be all of these homies right here. So that's going to be awesome. Free amenities is great. We're going to be improving this theater score, which is also great, so we're super happy with it. Next government plaza building is available. Intelligence agency would be great, but we're going to end up allied with almost everyone on this map anyway, so they won't be able to spy on us. So Grandmaster's Chapel, which gives us plus 5 faith. Obviously, we want that. We have 2 more Monumentality Golden Ages to go, so we're going to have a lot of faith to be able to spend. We want to be able to spend it on our military units as well. Incredible stuff, so that's what we're going to go for. The next district I'm interested in putting down in Kirky Pants once the Colosseum is done is a commercial hub. We're going to need some commercial hubs to get some more trade route capacity so we can trade with everyone for that tourism boost. So we are going to put a commercial hub. Do I want to put it here? Yeah, I think I want to put it here because the commercial hub in Ozan can go here still. So that's okay. We're going to lock in that production, but we're going to get back to the Colosseum because that's far more important for us right now. I want to show you all a trick for moving your great works of writing around. It's harder to do with great works of art. But if you have a great writer and you don't want to bring them all the way up there to use the great work of writing, you can actually move the writings out of Ozan here by going up to your great works thing. I'll just move it out of the amphitheater in Ozan to the one in Olympia. So that's just moved all the way up. And now if I re-click on this homie, the spot's reopened. So I don't got to actually move the great writer around. Because we have the bonus that gives us extra amenities and housing for having governors in cities, I want to make sure there's a governor in each of my good cities. Liang is going to be next up. Liang will give us an extra build charge in cities that we purchase, or in an extra build charge for builders that we purchase in the Liang city. I want Ozan to have those amenities and that housing, so I'll put Liang in Ozan, and that's where we will faith buy our builders from now on to get 6 build charges. We've hit turn 101 though, so that will be the end of this video that has covered the early game, which I kind of classify as the first 100 turns. Let's recap our strategy. We scouted well early on. We got down a few good cities. We've since expanded, but we used the Oracle and Pingala strategy that I love so much to generate a lot of great person points, specifically great writers right now, where you can see the great artists are coming in. we made sure we either used production or gold to buy enough amphitheaters to accommodate all these great works of writing, which are now generating us tourism. Tourism is going to help us win a culture victory in undefined ways at the moment. We'll explain this screen a little bit better in the next video, but that's kind of the bare bones of the strategy here so far. Otherwise, we've made sure to use policy cards very cleverly to increase our faith for our Monumentality Golden Age, to make sure we're sending as many builders around with 5 charges as possible to improve all of the tiles of our empire, and mainly we're still expanding and making sure we are set up for a high culture and high faith empire here for all culture victory. If we take a look at the yields here, we have 107 culture per turn. The next highest is 27, so we're doing really good. Even though we've neglected science a little bit, we are still higher science than everyone else in the game, which is awesome. So you still need that, but we're neglecting it a bit. But we got a campus coming in 29 turns. We'll fix that up in the next episode. But I hope this episode gave you at least one strategy to use in the early game. And remember, this save file is in the Discord. So if you want to play this exact game, feel free to head over to the Discord and give it a go. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next video, we will cover the mid game and late game and kind of finish this game off and show you how to kind of execute the end of a culture victory. But I hope you enjoyed this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you thought in the comments. One final disclaimer that this is only one way to win a culture victory with one civilization. So I know there are a lot of other good culture civs and a lot of other ways to do it. This is just the way I'm teaching a new or novice player how to do it. But otherwise, I appreciate everything you have to say about the game. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.